Hey there, welcome. My name is Jessica Buchanan, and I'm a New York Times bestselling author, professional speaker, and founder of Soul Speak Press, a non traditional publishing company created for women who've been through something, now they know something, and they can teach us something. In Her Words is a podcast designed to support aspiring memoir authors on their writing and publishing journey. It's hard work, this writing and publishing stuff, and I want to empower you with encouragement and information so you can keep sharing your truth. So grab your coffee, your notebook, find a quiet space, and let's dive in. Well, hey there, beautiful people. Thanks so much for coming back to In Her Words. I've been on the road, as has my guest. And so somehow we're not really sure if we've recorded this episode. I don't remember it. We don't know if we lost it. Like what happened? So everybody out there, thanks for hanging with us. I know we've like reposted a couple of episodes because I've been out of pocket, and I'm just grateful to have Delia Sullivan back on to I guess I don't even know what happened. But anyway, whether we're recording this conversation for the first or 10th time, I'm very happy to have you here. So welcome, Delia.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always a treat, Jess.
Well, I was very excited to see my calendar that I get to start my workday off with a conversation with you because you're literally one of my favorite people in the whole world. I don't know if you know that, but and that it matters, probably not, but you are. Delia, tell us a little bit about your involvement with Soul Speak Press and yeah, just take it from there. I'm really curious about the marketing and the promotion side of what you've done with your work here. And I think it'll be really helpful to those listening.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I'm honored to be one of your favorite people because you have a lot of people that love you too, for sure. Um, yes, and I am excited to share some of the things. And looking back, it's been over a year, which is unbelievable. And the first thing I would say is that you don't have to do it all at once because
Yeah,
my path just happened to be that I crammed a lot into launch weekend because I was going out of town for
right.
4 months, and this is my community, and I was sort of not panicking, but I was excited about getting out there and sharing my story and
Yeah.
all Soul Speak Press and the whole process and everything. So um, I started with just doing a book launch at a local restaurant and Elaine's, I'll give them a shout out. And
Mhm.
that,
I just went to one a couple weeks ago. I was very impressed with them for
yeah,
anybody who's local.
yeah, and he's one of the owners is an author, and he's really, really helpful and gives you the space for
Yeah.
free. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, I thought of pulling my book team together and doing just a thank you to them. And then I realized that my
Hmm.
book team that I had chosen was spread out all over the country. And so not a lot of people, not everybody was going to be able to make it.
And
So yeah.
I want to stop you real quick. Can you back up and tell us what project you were involved in with Soul
Oh,
Speak
sure,
Press? Because
sure.
I don't think we said that.
Yes. Deserts to Mountaintops, Volume 2, Choosing Our Healing Through Radical Self-Acceptance. And
Yes. Okay. So that one came out in January 2024.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and so that would be one thing that I would say, maybe don't, if you're going to try to say, throw something together for a launch team or a launch party, is maybe not to pick a lot of people that live out of town so that you actually have some people there. But the other thing was I invited family and friends. So doing something where you feel comfortable kind of experimenting with speaking in front of people or reading your story out loud. So that would be definitely one. And it was fabulous. I loved it. And I do remember saying people had already had the story because they were on the book team and did a review. And people would say, wow, you're a really great writer. And I was like, thank you so much. I said, well, but I'm not a great public speaker. So, so bear with me. So, so it was nice to have that as a little launch pad. And then I did a
Mm-hmm.
workshop at a local yoga studio because I'm a yoga teacher and kind of a wellness warrior. And that was something a little bit different where I read a little bit from my chapter. We did a little meditation and movement, and then some journaling, which I'm really passionate about, having people at least do some tiny, we do a, very short little meditation, but just to get some grounding and the movement because we're all coming from somewhere and or
Mhm.
so and then opened it up for questions and things. And that was very meaningful and it was sold out and I was excited about that. The book was included in there, the price of the workshop, and that was at Radiance Yoga. And and then I left for California and I thought, I'm really liking this. This is really fun. And I'm really enjoying connecting with women in particular. And I want to do more of it. And so I got to California and kind of snooped around at the library and put a little card under one of the yoga studio doors. And then I'm trying to remember exactly how I found this person. I called a woman who was the arts commissioner in Coronado, and she emailed me back right away and or called me back right away. And then she said, let's have lunch. And so we had lunch and she connected me with the arts commissioner, the literary arts commissioner, who said, oh, we love this and we love the idea of doing movement and just a little bit of meditation and making it different than just an author talk. So where they're talking about the book and how, which is all interesting as well. But she said, this is different and I like this healing aspect. And
Mhm. Now, let me stop you and ask you, what made you like, what gave you the idea to call the arts commissioner?
well, I have to say that I'm in a writing group with some people from from Coronado and from all over that we had to get online of after COVID. And one of the women had said, had given me her name and email long before I think the book had launched. We were talking about
Mhm.
just people and about if I wanted to do something eventually at the library, maybe speaking, reading, doing a reading or something like that. And so I just happened to remember like, oh, well, Anne sent me something. Let me go back and look. And that was kind of after I'd gone to the library a few times anyway and um given them my card and they said they would get back to me and da 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 da. So it just happened. I think it was timing. And I think I was a little persistent at the library, but they were the ones that kind of sealed the deal. Um,
Okay.
Sue from the Arts Commission and her literary agent or literary arts commissioner.
Mhm.
So that to me was, I just was like, this just, I felt like it fell into place without a lot,
Yes. Yeah.
and they set it
But
up and
I heard you say one very important word, which was persistence.
yes.
Okay, I think a lot of times authors will like send an email and never hear back, and they don't circle back around, or they'll stop in somewhere, but they don't follow up. Like, this is what I talk about the author hustle,
Hmm.
which is why I thought it was so important to have this conversation, because you really get out there and hustle. And your hustle looks different. Everybody's hustle looks different. And I know a lot of people are like allergic to that word. So perhaps like persistence.
Right, right.
You have to be persistent, and you've modeled that very well, and it's paid off for you.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I would say too that I just became more I really was really proud of my story. I was proud of myself for telling the story. And so that really fueled me. And also if you like at one of the at the Radiance event, one of the first events I did, um I got feedback. I mean, I got people would come up and say, wow, you really made me think differently about something in my life. Or, um,
Mhm.
I have this little, tiff with a family member, and I'm wondering if maybe I should inquire more about that. Or, so those things were like, wow, oh, okay. So like this resonated with somebody. It made somebody think differently and it made them
Mhm.
feel more empowered and inspired. So um, you talk about a lot about the ripple effect, and I started feeling and seeing and witnessing that ripple effect, and it felt good to know that
Yeah.
someone else is growing and learning.
Yes.
and
Right.
hearing it.
And I mean, I think that that always fuels me to keep going. Like that when I'm feeling self-doubt about being persistent or, following up again or putting myself out there, I think about, those little reminders that what I'm doing and that sharing my story actually does matter and it is helping someone because at the end of the day, like I think most of us who do this, our goal is to help someone.
Right.
And so and you don't know, like a lot of times you just feel like you're shouting into a vacuum. And but when you do get that confirmation or that validation, um I always that fuels me to keep going.
You can tell. It's a good
And
thing.
it's
Such a
yeah,
great.
and it seems like that it does the same thing for you and you keep going.
Yes, and I will say too that I've enjoyed doing I'm not doing I haven't done like each thing hasn't been like in a restaurant doing a reading, which is all great. And also bookstores, I just didn't even bother because to me that was I don't know. If our local bookstores did it, great, but I just didn't go that route. Um, but
Yeah. I don't ever either. Our local bookstore doesn't support independent authors, so
yeah.
which is a real bummer.
But it's
They're
also
missing out.
community, like being in a room with even just like at the Coronado event, that wasn't a big event. There were 14 people there. Um, I always joke because one of my competition was the literary Dawn at the Literary Arts Commissioner. She said, I hate to tell you, but Bullet is playing at the Vintage Movie Theater and she's at 7 o'clock, same time as your as your program. And she's like, and it's sold out. So I was like, oh, what's his name? Steve McQueen or whatever. So I'm in competition with Steve McQueen. Gee.
And you still pulled 14 people in. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
So but I think where I was going with that what earlier was that doing different things, meaning like I have now kind of morphed into um picking themes from my story and talking about those
Hmm.
also doing, a yoga studio or the Pente, the art gallery, doing that
Yep.
Q&A with you and Kim. Um, and so I've been able to see that there's a lot of different options, but it was really difficult in the beginning. I remember wanting to just reach out and go, just based on like the first book, like, do you have like a list of places that people would go and or I mean, it isn't easy to figure that out, but if you start and you are persistent in one place,
Hmm.
there is a little bit you're going to kind of either meet somebody or somebody eventually may reach out to you that's in the corporate
Right.
world and say, I'm in charge of this or whatever.
Yeah. So tell us about that because that happened to you.
Yeah, that was came kind of out of the blue, and I happened to actually also being woe is me a few weeks before it, and I was like, oh, I don't have anything scheduled for November, and I just really want other than my women's retreat, but and then I just remembered, again, you don't have to do it all at one time, and just be patient. This I've told you this many times about my great aunt who's would say, Delia, just be patient, quiet, and still. And so I just took off
Mhm.
the gas pedal a little bit. And then this event came up where it was basically a corporate retreat for women in the banking industry or finance industry. And a friend of mine is the CEO of the Bankers Association. And she said, would you be interested in coming and talking about this is our theme is self-care and self-reflection in your work life and home life. And I was, of course, on the other end jumping up and down. I was like, yes. I mean, first of all, it's women, it's a retreat. And yes, yes, yes. So that was really, really fun. It taught me a lot because I got a little nervous about the corporate part, about whether I needed to go out and get business casual clothing to do
Mhm.
my event or not. But um, it was amazing how when we did the group sharing and in the listening exercise that people were having really rich interactions with each other about how they take
Mhm.
care of themselves. So that was really, really fun. And I'm hoping I very much enjoyed that. So I am actually putting together some speaking themes, like the art of listening. And also,
Mhm. Yep.
there was another one that is, I had it over here. Listening is your superpower. Uh, the art of listening, a path to self-reflection and self-care. And then another one, following your inner voice in order to grow out of your comfort zone type thing. So we'll see.
Those like the art of listening, like those are all such impactful themes to take into a corporate space. And I know that like for a lot of our authors, like that's the end goal, right? They want to be able to get into those spaces and start speaking and getting paid to speak. Do you have any, I guess, recommendations or advice on um, how to secure something like that? How to get an opportunity like that? Or did you feel like it just kind of fell in your lap?
I do feel like it kind of fell in my lap. I will say on the back end, this friend don't we have talked over the years and she knows what I'm doing and all of that. And so I feel like if I hadn't put myself out, maybe with speaking about what I'm doing and talking about my story
Yeah.
and social media, and I ended up like on LinkedIn, like really connecting with other people that were at the event. There was a panel of people, and so I would say, although the other thing is that I've been thinking it's just a different way of thinking. You have to think of like I was thinking about going to this women's summit, I think was like the chamber put on or something. And I thought, yeah,
Yeah.
well, you need to be networking with the people who are working in the corporate
Yeah.
world. You can't,
Exactly.
so that kind of thing.
Did you go to the chamber event?
I did not. I did.
Okay. We had a table there, so I wasn't there either because I was in California for another event. But I heard it was great. So
Yes, yes. And so maybe next year,
yeah, yeah,
kids were all
absolutely.
here and we'd had a kind of a late night the night before. I was so I think it also it takes like um a little thinking a little bit differently,
Hmm.
right? So not just thinking about the library or the book clubs, if you and also just seeing what you want to do. So I've learned over this year that I really love the speaking. I
Yeah.
love the and combining it with the mind body connection
Hmm.
also.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's not such a far off thing anymore either,
It's not. No.
So if that's encouraging.
Well, especially in this like current atmosphere or, like the energy that we're in, I think especially in the corporate space or, here in DC, people going back to the office, like, there's like just like there's a lot of stress. We're feeling a lot of stress. So I can imagine that your message is particularly applicable and um digestible and it's needed and I can imagine that it's very wanted in those spaces. And so to your point, nobody knows. Nobody's going to know that that's your message or that you speak if you're not posting about it and you're not sharing about it. And I sometimes feel like I get on here and like start ranting about things that I get frustrated about. So I'm gonna try like to step it down a little bit. But like one of my challenges over the last couple of years when I realized I'm gonna like go down a rabbit hole, but just hang with me for a minute, everybody. I got into human design and found out that I'm actually a projector. I thought I was like a manifesting generator because I thought that sounded so much cooler than a projector. And it turns out really my duty and my job for my personality and like my purpose in the world is to make myself visible and to just show up. And so I started doing that, and I've been doing that for about 2.5, 3 years. And I'll say that the speaking side of my work has just exploded. And it has been because I've just made myself like Lauren and I were sitting back. We were in Palm Springs last weekend for a conference. And so, we talk all the time, but we don't really have like in-person time to talk. So we were like hashing out like what's happened here? Like what's going on here? Like why like we're very grateful for the work has gotten so busy, but what's caused this? And she was like, I think it's all the work that you put in on social media and I mean, showing up, consistency, persistence for the last 2 years, it's exhausting. But that's why I asked you to come on and talk about this because you do the same thing. And it's paying off for you. And it may not be happening as much or as quickly as you want it to, but it eventually it will if you just keep showing up and you keep staying consistent. So you have another event coming up next week.
Yes, next week at the Campagna Center. Um,
Okay.
I think monthly, they do a get together for the friends of the Campagna Center. And that just means you go on their website and you put in your email address and they'll send you the newsletter. And they have lots and lots of volunteer opportunities, some that are short term, some that are a day, some that are for, a monthly or a year. And and Bridget Weaver asked me if I wanted to come and talk about my book or share. And so yeah, so I'm super
That's
excited. And
amazing.
it's like I was like, oh well, that's great because I've been involved with the Companion Center forever and ever
Yeah.
since I was a wee baby. Uh,
Wasn't it started by your grandmother?
she was the executive director for
Okay.
35 years, I believe,
Wow. Okay.
and
Okay.
very beloved and a powerhouse. And yeah, and so a huge legacy. And she actually, I think about her a lot because she spoke and she did a lot of speaking. She was friends with all of or she made herself very known in the
Yeah.
community because she wanted to get shit done. And
Right. Made
um,
herself visible.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I remember watching her as, like a 10-year-old or then as a young woman and going, gosh, how can she speak in front of all these people or a small group of people? And she was very passionate and I was like, because she is really passionate about what she's doing.
Hmm.
And that was like a flip of the switch for me. And especially in this realm, it was like, I'm passionate about what I'm saying. And it's so then it becomes even easier to be yourself, to be your
Yeah.
true self and say what you're saying because you believe in what it is that you are living your
Absolutely.
life.
Yep.
And it makes it a lot easier. And you also attract the people that are attracted to what you're saying.
Yes.
And you don't have to worry about um, that, it's not going to be okay for everybody. Some
Right.
people may be a lot of people I think are uncomfortable with my story. Um,
Oh,
and
really?
and I've even had family members that have never even said anything about it. Like,
Why do you think people are uncomfortable with it? Because it talks about childhood trauma?
yeah, I think so. And I think that it's like, I guess, like, and maybe to the point of that, like, they've known me for so long, and they're like, how come I know you never said this, or you never told anybody that this was happening to you? But it was something that was sort of subconscious. It
Yeah.
wasn't something that I thought about every single day. And I was constantly doing work just to learn and through all those channels that I've been, the yoga and all sorts of things, that's what kind of brought it up to the surface. Um, so it's just interesting. And I think to myself, that's okay. It makes them uncomfortable or they don't understand.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's just like you've talked about with the authors on this book, The Pilgrimage to Motherhood, and about how the book team, if people don't get back to you or people aren't supporting you or
Yeah.
whatever, like it's a thing. And
It's a
it's
thing.
more about them than it is about you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think, you've done a really beautiful job of showcasing how you're not just waiting around for people or like trying to figure out what they're thinking, that you're kind of like, well, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to go do my own thing and I'm going to go find other people who get it and who this clicks with and it resonates with. And, I think that that's a really important point you made about thinking outside the box in terms of how to share your story. You know, you've done a wide swath. You're not sticking to just the libraries and the bookstores, but you're doing art galleries, you're doing yoga studios, you're doing corporate wellness retreats, and you also hold your own retreats. And yeah, books, like authors are not restricted to just the book places
Right.
anymore. You know, you can have a wildly successful event at a park. You know, it
Exactly.
doesn't matter. I mean, any place where people are gathering, right? And people love to be invited. So if you're of the mindset and you have the energy and the resources to hold events or to plan those, oh my God, that's why our book events, our launch parties are so successful, is because we throw a big, huge party and people just want to come and celebrate and have fun. And they didn't have to do the work, sure. So that's why we always have over 200 people at our launch parties because, it's a lot of work for us, but it's fun,
Yeah.
and it's a celebration. So okay, let's say somebody is listening to this and the thought of talking and promoting and marketing even a chapter in a book with a bunch of other authors petrifies them. What would you say?
I would say you're not alone in that, and that probably, I can't speak for everybody in the book, but um, that there, maybe 50% of people who think about it don't do it for that reason. That
Mhm.
they're petrified and they don't know. And a lot of it is that you just don't, it's all unknown, right? You've never done it before. But I would say that if you feel, because I remember feeling this, like I have so much, I was doing a lot of writing and and journaling, but a lot of writing, and I was like, I just have a lot inside of me that I know I just need to let it out
Yeah,
and write about it.
yeah,
And so you you just have to trust your intuition. Like if you keep getting these signals that you're attracted to this, and that's the way I was too. I followed a friend, my friend Mary, all in her process on the first volume, and then I was like, oh, and then the second volume resonated with me, and and I knew that it was something I wanted to do, and I was going to figure it out and do it. So, and sometimes you just have to launch. You just have to say, this is not make, I'm not sure because I don't know all of the ins and outs and I don't know all the answers and exactly what's going to happen and when it's going to happen, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Mhm. Yeah. Trust the process, right? The journey.
Trust the process. And by the way, Jessica is incredible and leading you on the path so that it's almost like hand holding for us all
Mhm.
and encouraging us and all of the things that make up this master class basically um, also are things that are helping you learn about yourself and how you should go forward in your life um, afterwards. As you say, it's really about after the book is launched. That's when you start to begin your journey.
Yeah, exactly. And, I will thank you for that. And I got to be honest, like you're one of the few from your volume that has gone on to actually do something with us. Which I'm super proud of you and inspired by that, but then kind of makes me sad on the other hand too, because we can only walk you so far. And we can only do so much. And our goal is to make you feel empowered and to educate you in these spaces so that you do feel confident when you go off on your own and we're like fly little author fly, and like see where you land and you just keep like flying from one tree to the next, if I may use a really bad metaphor. Um but it's just I love it. I love seeing, oh, you're going to be here and you're doing this and and you're even going to different states and doing it, which floors me because I don't even I don't think I have the like the courage to do that. I just think that's so badass. Um, so where can, if let's say somebody's listening to this and they want to invite you to something or they want to host you or they just want to connect with you to maybe pick your brain, um, where can they find you and how can they connect with you?
Uh, Delia Sullivan Yoga on Instagram.
Mhm.
And I do have a Facebook page. I think it's just Delia Sullivan. Not super do that. I don't do that a lot, but and then also LinkedIn, which is like
Mhm.
kind of a new thing for me. And my email address is deliasullivanyoga@gmail.com.
Great.
And I think that's all the places. I will, one of the things that I said over and over again myself was give yourself space and grace. You don't have to do it all at once. I'm even thinking about those authors from my volume. It's not something that's over. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, maybe something comes to you or who knows? But
Yeah.
the story is obviously something that's with you forever.
Hmm.
And the book is very tangible. So it's there
Yeah.
if the time is right.
Yeah. I love that. All right. Well, I'm definitely going to try to come by Tuesday night and see you speak at the Campania Center. So, unfortunately, this won't be out. It comes out on Thursday. So, but we'll be posting. So, yeah, I just can't wait to see what you do next, Delia.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you for this time. I always love time with you, and thank you for all of your inspiration and um, and to the women out there, the ripple effect. Let the ripple effect find you because
Yeah.
it is a thing, and we all need to support each other and empower each other.
Amen to that. In Her Words is hosted by me, Jessica Buchanan, and is produced by Soul Speak Press, a non traditional publishing house for women who are ready to tell their story. If you would like to know more about our submission process, I encourage you to check us out at www.soulspeakpress.com or follow us over on Instagram at soulspeakpress. We appreciate all your questions, and if you would like to leave us a review, we would be so grateful.